G'day folks, I thought I'd give you a bit of an inside view on the Voltec plasma. This one here I've actually sold to my work supervisor. He's got a outdoor entertaining area which is all walled off with vinyl and all that sort of stuff, and he's happy to give a junky old plasma a go out there for 50 bucks. So it's all his, and unfortunately I told him it was wall mountable before I realised, because I had it mixed up with another one. This doesn't have the big studs in it for wall mounting. It still has the vertical braces, which you can see I've modified a little bit. That's sort of the theme of tonight's video, is modifying it for wall mounting. I'm going to put some, well, basically the braces are here to support the panel and everything like that, and they're strong enough, but all I've done is tack those nutserts in with the TIG welder and give everything a light coat of paint. And I'm going to get the drill press out, and well, provided I've still got the drill press that I'm thinking of, I might not, but open these up to 4mm and re-tap M5, and I'm going to sandwich the back cover between some rails. They are somewhere, they're made out of this stuff, 40 by 10mm alley bar, and they're going to go full height and have bolt from the old base, as well as 1, 2, 3. So M6 by 2 and 3 M5 countersunk cap screws, and then I'm going to drill and tap that thickness to take the bolts for the wall bracket, because he's got one of those universal wall brackets that supports up to 60-inch plasmas and like 50 kilos or so of weight, so it's fairly hefty. But basically I'm going to pinch screws out of stock and just old TVs like this, and yeah, make up my little mounting bars so that, yeah, he can bolt his wall bracket to it. I might just have to supply some washers because I'm only going to get about that much thread into them. But if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll be doubly strong. So yeah, definitely not going to fall off the wall, and certainly not the heaviest of plasmas either. Like, once I've got the speakers off it, it's not that heavy. I can certainly carry it and wield it around fairly easy on my own. It's a pretty old LG chassis, fairly light, but yeah, it's not too bad. So that's tonight's little project. I'm going to see if I've still got my dinky little drill press. I might have given that away, but I'll see if that's still around and just drill it. If not, I'll just drill it by hand with the cordless. I'm pretty accurate with that. Drill press is just handy because it's just, we've got the table to rest it on. But yeah, there's the main panel support there, and there's another one under there which goes through this mounting block. So yeah, that's pretty good. It'll be more than strong enough. As for the rest of it, pretty straightforward. It does have DVI input, which seems to go through a little Texas Instruments chip there. The 45CL9RT, and there's a little analog devices chip there as well. Good that they put a heatsink on the main BGA analog processor there. That's an audio amp. What is it? It's an LA 4282, yeah, LA 4282, pretty standard little stereo sound processor chip, or stereo amplifier chip I should say, and that goes out there, and it will come out, oh no, sorry, it goes through here. That'll be power input I think for the amp, but audio comes out here, unless that's it there. Is it? I think that's sound processing, it might not be. Just looks like audio processing there. I might be wrong. Anyway, I could spend ages replacing caps in this thing, but it works fine. They're all sham or crappy caps. But again, I could spend days replacing them, and for the sake of a cheap television that doesn't have a remote or anything, not worth it. I know some people are going to say, oh, these caps are blown out. No, they're not. It's the plastic domes on them. They get hot and the plastic just expands and bulges out through the top. The top of the caps is fine. See, they look bad, but underneath they're actually not. You can push it all the way down to the top of the can. I'm not going to push too hard, but you know what I mean. It's supposed to look like that. They have gotten hot. These ones have gotten pretty hot. Those ones not quite. But it's just a little cover disc that covers the vent. They do sometimes just mushroom. There's nothing you can really do about it, and you pull the cap off, put it across the meter, and technically it's still fine. So yeah, what do you do? Anyway, better get to work. I want to get this thing done and then go inside. been a long week. Okay, well, there we go. I've drilled and retapped them 5mm. I tried wiggling run around pretty hard and it's firmly welded to the backing brace now, so those nutserts should do the job just fine. Like I said, the TV isn't incredibly heavy, and since it's not exactly going to be hanging down at an angle, it's not really pulling on them, it's more vertical load than anything else, so I'm quite happy with that. Everything's bolted in. The screws that the manufacturer used in there only had about 3 threads going into that standoff, and that's really bad. So I replaced them with ones which actually have about 10mm of thread going into the standoff like it's supposed to. Top ones are fine, but because it's going through that extra block of alley, that kind of made a mess. Well, needless to say, screwing it back in just instantly strips the top 2 threads, so I soon realised how short they were, and replaced them, of course. I'm just going to go through my drawer and find some more backing panel or wall mounting screws. They're not hard to find. I've got plenty of them around in all these other dead sets. It's just a matter of fitting the cover up. I've used a small cone cut drill, cone shaped drill bit, and just open them up enough that I can get a bit of clearance around the 3 bolts for the mounting. Left them as they are. I could open them up a tiny bit, but it's unnecessary since I'm getting 6mm bolts through them. I'll see how it looks. Put it on there. If the holes aren't quite squared up, because there's a lot of play in this chassis, I'll get the cone drill out again and go from there. I should really buy one. I'm just borrowing it from work at the moment. Same with a small countersink to do the rest of the job, but I'll have a look in the Dormer catalogue and see what I can find. That's just a no-name countersink, and they're not half bad, but the Dormer ones are awesome. The cone drill's a Dormer cone drill, and yeah, that thing's been through hell and back and it still works. Still nice and sharp. Yeah, there's a bigger one. That's a number 3. This one's been abused and used on stainless steel and other materials. It only works on plastic now. We've got a few replacements, so I just grabbed this one out of the bin. You can see the edges are all scuffed. But that's a cone drill. That's a much bigger one. But they are good. It still works on plastic enclosures for doing key switch and push button holes. Industrial push buttons. You just bore a hole in a pilot drill hole and then open it up with one of these and put your push button through it. Very handy. Yeah, there we go. The holes seem to line up pretty good. Not quite on centre, but that brace has moved a little bit. That one's still on centre. So that's good. I can start drilling my cross braces, which are somewhere. Can't remember where I put them, but I'll find them soon. I think it might even be in the back of the car. I think I put them in there so that I could drill them at work, but I just never got around to it. Oh, never mind, I found them. There we go. I'll actually put that against the backing panel and just see whether these centre pop marks actually line up with the holes. Although the holes are fairly big, so if I drill them 6.5 or 6.5 for the bottoms and 5.5 for the tops, and then countersink them, shouldn't have any alignment issues. Well, famous last words. I hate having to ovalize and slot out holes just to get a fit, especially when they're countersunk. Countersinking makes things tricky because the screw wants to centre on its countersink bevel anyway. Okay, there we go. That's a finished brace. Both of them are done now. Countersunk the screws fairly deep, but they'll I want to get maximum thread into the back of the TV, so it's more than adequate. Hole lineup's perfect. Yeah, good. Considering I marked this out by hand just with a vernier and a scribe, it worked quite well. Better than I expected. Those holes there are 7mm and the threads are 6mm, so there's a mil of clearance, which is adequate. They are slightly out. And those through holes are 5.5, and I'm using a 5mm bolt, so there's 0.25 either side, and I should just be able to find my screws and just drop them all in. So that'll be great, and then I'll work out position for the big bolts, which will probably be there and there, I think. Right up there. Depends on the range of his wall bracket. That seems to be a standard pitch on televisions, so I'll just copy that. And I know his wall bracket can slide in and out and up and down. It's one of those universal 40 to 60 inch TV brackets, so I have no doubt there'll be a way of accommodating this, but I'll try and mimic a standard 42 inch mounting stud pitch. Oh, there we go, that's what it's going to look like. Those screws are just in a few turns. I've still got to mark out and drill and tap all the back mounting holes, but that looks pretty good. That one there's slightly tight, which is why this one doesn't move around. It was slightly off centre. I've noticed with these ones the panel mount goes straight to the backing of the panel. These don't have vertical bars on them, whereas ones like this have nutserts into these chassis rails. They also have nutserts all the way around the outside, which is interesting too. These are designed to be rigidly mounted. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's probably about 12 nutserts around the outside, and then 6 in the middle area. That LG has none really. It just utilises M6 threads instead of M8. Basically what I'm doing there, I'm just mimicking what that one's got on it. Hell, I probably could have even gutted it and used the sub supports, but they look a bit shorter than what I'm using now. This one here uses 8mm. 4 of them. So yeah, different mounting styles. I just wasn't happy using M4 threads because these rails originally had 4mm metric, tiny little ones. Not good enough. Plus the nutserts themselves, when I wiggled them with the pliers, they actually rattled loose. So they weren't actually resistance welded to the braces, hence why I tigged them and then painted everything. So no, this ain't going to fall off the wall. The mount itself will have to fail and fall off the wall first. Or even if all of these fail, the TV will tilt forward. It'll obviously shatter the panel and everything, but this corner here will hold in. Like it might fall away that far and break the glass and everything in the event of, well, we don't get earthquakes down here, but it ain't falling off the wall. I think I'm over-engineering it as it is. That's just my nature. Being a fitter, turner and fabricator in my line of work, it's just what I do. Build it strong, build it to last. It's not going to last 20 years. The TV won't last 20 years, but I'll build it like it's going to last 20 years. That's my motto. If you're going to build it, do it properly. Okay, well, that's about ready to go. I've worked out that I definitely don't need 2, 4, 6, 8 8mm screws for this. It's plenty as it is. I've supplied a couple of 8mm packing washers, and that'll give them a full 10mm of thread into these bars, and that's heaps. So that's all ready to go. I've powered it on again since I've had it off and apart, and everything's fine. Works fine, ready to mount up. Just got to slide into the back of Blue Rav on top of a couple of old towels and deliver. No problem. I'll do that tomorrow. So he'll have great fun with that. If anyone doesn't really know, the guy I'm giving it to is the guy I got my Ford Fairmont off, my work supervisor. He's also bought my Luxman I think it was an L230 that I had, or L235 or something like that. Smaller Luxman than the one that I repaired for him, which was a 105 watt RMS L430 or something like that. But yeah, this guy's got a nice little setup going at his place, so yeah, I'll get a video when it's all set up and done. We'll have to have a party one night. I'll go over there and help him set up some wireless AV transmitters so he doesn't have to run cables from the box in the living room. This thing's pretty much ready for component and normal AV input, so that'll work quite well. Anyway, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more.